हेलो एवरीवन एंड वेलकम टू प्रेप आईएएस। प्रेप आईएएस पे आपका स्वागत है। आज हमारे साथ हैं जसपिंदर सिंह, हु हैज सिक्योर्ड 33 रैंक इन यूपीएससी सिविल सर्विस एग्जामिनेशन 2021। एंड आज हम इनके साथ एक कन्वर्सेशन करेंगे ये जानने के लिए कि कैसे इनकी जर्नी रही और क्या क्या चीजें इन्होंने की विच हेल्प्ड हिम सक्सीड इन दिस एग्जामिनेशन। एंड सर्टेनली जो हम ये सेमिनार या जो भी ऐसे इंटरेक्शंस रखते हैं उसके दो पर्पस होते हैं। पहला पर्पस होता है टू इंस्पायर अदर एस्पिरेंट्स, क्योंकि वी नो कि ये जो यूपीएससी की जर्नी होती है इट इज क्वाइट टफ और टाइम टू टाइम आपको मोटिवेशन की जरूरत होती है, इंस्पिरेशन की जरूरत होती है। और दूसरा पर्पस होता है कि स्ट्रेटजी और प्लान। तो इस सेशन के थ्रू हम ये भी जानेंगे कि व्हाट वर द की एलिमेंट्स ऑफ स्ट्रेटजी एंड प्लानिंग ऑफ जसपिंदर विच हेल्प हिम क्रैक दिस एग्जाम, कि कैसे उन्होंने क्या क्या चीजें की, व्हाट मेथड्स प्रोसेस और स्ट्रेटजी उन्होंने लगाया जिससे वो ये एग्जाम क्लियर कर पाए, राइट? So, welcome Jaspinder, and thank you very much for taking out your time, right?
Thank you so much, sir, for having me here. I will be sharing my strategy, and I would love to do that because we always felt like we want some insights from somewhere. So this thing of that topper and that thing of this topper might help us. Like we can incorporate it. So that ways, I would love to extend my helping hand to the society from where I come from, the aspirants.
Certainly, so Jaspinder, I think एक जनरल चीज जो होती है कि जैसे आपका रिजल्ट आने से पहले, राइट, एज एन एस्पिरेंट जो था और अब रिजल्ट आने के बाद, राइट, व्हाट चेंजेस, लाइक कोई मेजर चेंज आपको लगता है कि क्या लाइफ में होता है, और समथिंग दैट कुड बी एक्ट एज अ मोटिवेटर फॉर एस्पिरेंट्स आल्सो?
Sir, the first thing that I felt after getting the result was that now I'm not going to get back into that cycle of preparation again. That like a burden of one bag from my shoulders that is like off now. So that was very moment sigh of relief for me, right? And later on, when I came to my village, like people welcomed me because like this is something a dream job for people, right? So they were like, it was a grand welcome by my village, sir. And I was like not thinking that they will be doing these things. They put up the banners and all. I was like the poster boy of my village. So that was something very different. But again, when people from NGOs come, they talk about that you have to be very honest officer. You have to do this. Tomorrow you have to be very honest with respect to your dealings. So I feel that the things are not over, the things are yet to come, and this is just a start, this is just the beginning for a person who was aspirant and who has got AIR 33. So we will be working forward. So this is again a sense of responsibility that is going to come, or that is just taking birth in me, we can say, because when I get to know that yes, you have to do this, you have to do that, I feel like yes, you have done something, now you have to work for that, right? So that sense of responsibility has started taking, I don't want to say that I have become responsible with respect to that, but it has started taking birth with respect to my say thoughts or other things. So that is another feeling, sir, right?
Definitely, Jaspinder. I think that is something, that half job is done, half now starts, right? So Jaspinder, if I ask you, like, when did you think about, starting this journey of UPSC, right? आपको कैसे आइडिया आया और आपने कब सोचा कि मेरे को जो है सिविल सर्विसेज में जाना है?
Sir, civil services, there was one teacher in my school times, in my class 7th, in parents teacher meetings, he told my father that your child is having this potential, like he can become a civil servant. और उसके बाद I got to do that parades and 25th 26th of January and 15th of August में जो parade करते हैं, there I used to see the very he was very young IS officer Varun Rujam here in our district. So he was there. I was like such a young officer, such a young man, and he's like having the responsibility of entire district. So these things, when I saw these things, that was the time when I thought that I have to do this, but I didn't do much for this. Then I was like just taking the decisions which were oriented towards this direction rather than just focusing upon this, right? For example, I did law, I from Punjab University, and whatever subjects I took, they were in the direction of this, but I was not preparing at that point of time. I started my preparation in third year of my law, and later on I solely devoted in third year of my law. I was just reading NCRTs for this purpose, right? Later on, in after completion of my law, I was solely focused upon this that I have to do this, whatever it takes, I'm going to give, and here I am. So,
Okay, great. So, Jaspinder, overall, like, how was your journey? Like, how many attempts did you get, and right, how many times prelims and mains, right, did you give?
yes, sir. Sir, this was my second attempt. In my first attempt, it was in 2020. I was passed out of 2019. I didn't give the attempt of 2019. So this was my second attempt, and I got AIR 33, and I'm grateful for that. And this was with respect to UPSC, but I also gave PCS exam, and I was not able to qualify for Punjab, right? It's the prelims again, I was not able to qualify because CSAT is having its own weightage in state exams, right? And secondly, Haryana HCS, it got cancelled. I gave that exam also, but it helped me in a way that the exams got cancelled, and I was preparing for HCS mains on 3rd December, and I was done with the most of my syllabus. And last month before January 7, I gave full for revision. So this was my journey, like from failures,
Yes.
then FCS, and then this UPSC. So it was this journey, sir.
So I think that is really great. Like, bouncing back after failures. So, Jaspinder, one thing you mentioned, आपने जो है थर्ड ईयर से ही प्रिपेयर करना शुरू कर दिया था कॉलेज के, राइट? सो कई एस्पिरेंट्स अभी भी होते हैं जो कॉलेज में सोचते हैं. सो व्हाट वुड यू सजेस्ट देम, व्हाट इज द आइडियल टाइम कि कब उनको स्टार्ट कर देना चाहिए? इज इट लाइक कि फर्स्ट ईयर when it is too early, when it is too late to start, right?
So I want to tell one thing to the people who are in college, that enjoy your college days, especially the first year, second year. You need to get that exposure, because it is, like, say, exam is not about just preparing first, and it is more about getting and gaining some experiences from the college. You get to learn from your experiences in your college, from extracurricular activities, and from your participation in different events, then event management of your college, then various other things. You take part in those. You start preparing from your college days in a way, like 1 year can be given of your college. It's not entirely, again, 2-3 hours a day reading NCRT books or making some notes. Again, I just want to say that don't just get into that zone of preparation when in college, because experience from college is going to make you a man. It is going to make you it is going to build your personality. So that is very important. Don't miss those crucial years. Like, you will be studying 3 years of your graduation, 5 years of your graduation, just preparing for UPSC. No, that should not be like that. It should be, your decisions should be oriented towards your goal, but solely you are preparing for this is, again, not a right decision to take.
Yes, I think that is a valuable suggestion. Like, for all those who are thinking about preparing for this exam, see, both are equally important. You should have your own life experiences also, enjoy your life also, and you could also like Jaspinder said, take your decisions in such a way that they help you, like take such subjects that they help you in preparing for this exam. So, Jaspinder, now see, when you decided finally that okay, I will start preparing for this exam. नाउ द बिगेस्ट क्वेश्चन, जो सबसे बड़ा सवाल सबके दिमाग में आता है, क्योंकि इतना ज्यादा यूपीएससी में 3 स्टेजेस हैं, इट हैज सच ए वाइड सिलेबस, सो इट इज वेरी नेचुरल इतना सब कुछ करने के लिए प्लानिंग और स्ट्रेटजी चाहिए, राइट? एंड दिस इज वेयर काफी लोग जो है स्टार्टिंग में स्ट्रगल भी करते हैं कि कैसे हम प्लान या स्ट्रेटजाइज करें, राइट? एंड कई बार कई लोग विदाउट प्लान और स्ट्रेटजी दे जंप इनटू दिस प्रिपरेशन एंड दे आफ्टर से सम पीरियड दे लर्न. तो आपने जब शुरुआत की थी, how did you plan and strategize? How did you know कि I have to start from this? आपने कैसे प्लानिंग और स्ट्रेटजी की?
uh, Sir, I just like every other aspirant, I used to go through the YouTube lectures, videos, topic talks. Okay, so I got to know one thing, that you need to be very clear with your basics, right? So NCRTs are important. I completed them in my graduation. I read and reread economics in my graduation, because I didn't have this as a subject either in my graduation or in my 12th. So I had to, like, hold the hand of economics then, right? So the only thing that I worked for was, I think, economics during my graduation, like more specifically if I talk about. Later on, if we talk about my strategy or my journey where it began, I was done with the NCRTs. Then later on, I started taking coaching from an institute, made the notes. So notes is again very important thing that you need to have your notes. So I had the notes. I don't want to say that do not join this coaching, that coaching. I just want to say that coaching has helped me to guide that this is the perimeter, this is the area where I have to be at, and that it was helpful for me that ways. And then later on, I decided to complete my basic books like Lakshmikant, like Spectrum. So though I didn't touch Spectrum till my first prelims, then I was like, yeah, I think this is very basic book. I must do that. So just after failing my first prelims, I touched the book. I said, now I have to touch it. So otherwise, what I did was I was reading basic books and NCRTs from mains and prelims perspective both. It wasn't that I bifurcated into prelims ke liye padna hai, mains ke padna. Later on, uh, in 3-4 months, I completed my optional. Side by side, I was doing GS as well, right? So then after the entire thing was complete, I started the test series of prelims, and I started writing answers or test series for my optional. I was having law optional, sir. So I started it in December of 2019, the test series for optional as well.
So, Jaspinder, one thing see, you had mentioned that coaching had helped you writing clear, setting those boundaries, right, for what you have to read. So, see, we have also launched a foundation course and we had shared our brochure with you. So you must have gone through our brochure. So what is like your review about our course, right? What do you think? Do you find something useful there, right? Please.
Sir, in your brochure, I found one thing interesting was the mentorship program, that one-to-one session with mentors. So that is, I believe that is really helpful, especially in your during the anxiety days when a person is feeling that pata nahi kya hoga, will I be able to do that? How am I going with respect to my prelims, with mains, with my answers? So there you need somebody, some third person who can see you, assess you, and tell you that this is where you can make the improvement. I used to make phone calls to my seniors, to my because they are busy, sir. They do not have this much time. Though they help, I'm really thankful for that. But again, when you have that mentor with you, that is really helpful. I like that thing in the brochure, sir. That is nice.
So I think, and that is the USP of our course, that is one-on-one mentorship with faculty. So at very few institutes it is done, right? So where you can interact, directly with the faculty and get to know all your doubts and queries and get them resolved. So, Jaspinder, right? So again, strategy part we will be coming up specific for prelims and on mains. But before that, you said that there were some failures, like you failed in first prelims, right? So, and for any aspirant in this journey, failure most of the aspirants face, right, in one form or other form, right? And that at times उनको demotivate काफी कर देता है. So how did you overcome? Like, did you ever feel very much demotivated? And how did you overcome those low phases of your preparation?
Sir, this is but obvious that our graph cannot be this straight, right? Sir, it will always be having troughs and crests, right? So I had my own troughs, my own crests. But again, when I failed in my first prelims, I was the borderline case, sir. In this preparation, you really need to know that where you are standing today, what you need to do to be a better person, what you need to do to be in the list, be it of prelims, be it of mains. So it is very important to assess yourself, right? So for that, we have test series, we have certain other things, right? We need to assess our mental level as well, right? In my after failing my prelims, I was the borderline case that I was getting approximately at that point of time. I thought I'll be getting 95, but I just got 90 marks, and the cutoff was 92 in 2020. So I was having one thing. So I am not pessimist. I'm optimist person. I look at brighter side of things. I said 90. This means that you just need to take few steps more, which will be taking you away from ahead from the cutoff, right? So I had to work in that direction. But since I was a borderline, I started my mains preparation then and there. So I worked on mains. I gave test series after failing the prelims. My mains were near, right, sir? I used this thing and this really made me mains ready. So that was helpful. And again, I failed in the prelims again in Punjab PCS. But again, I look at the brighter side of things. I got 130 marks from GS out of 200, right, sir? So that was like encouraging that GS is strong, so I can work here. It was CSAT, which I got 92, 93, I don't know, these marks, which were not enough to take me to the merit, not the merit list, but the list of those who are writing names, right? So I always have looked to the brighter side of the things, that yes, my GS is working now. Then I took the GS key test series. So I worked on it like anything. Ke bhai, ab to GS is fine. It is working for me. Now it have to work. It has to work in the actual paper. So
So
that
again,
is how.
that is one thing. I mean, Abhi, lot of people have given, prelims, and this is something most of them experience, that they are on the borderline, right, because of the cutoff, and they must be stressed out right now. So again, for them, as Jaspinder said, the right thing to do is right now start preparing for mains, right? Because either you are giving mains this year or next year. So as Jaspinder said, be optimistic, okay, right? That is there. And see, Jaspinder, one thing you said about CSAT, right? So CSAT this year, I have interacted with students and they have said that it has been tough, right? So what was your approach for CSAT in prelims? Like, did you do anything specific, or like was it easy for you?
Sir, in CSAT, we just need to get 67 marks. First of all, we need to be very clear. So I was clear with respect to UPSC, but in state, it was like you have to be better or best in CSAT, right? So in UPSC, it works that if you're getting 67 marks, you have to get that. And I was non-medical student in class +2. Like before BA, LLB, I was non-med. So my quant was fine, logical reasoning was fine. So I didn't bet on literature, that comprehension part. Like I didn't touch comprehension because I knew this is a slippery slope. And I did uh, previous year question papers. So previous year questions, they helped me. Quant KB, they again set my area, perimeter, K boundary, where I have to go, which things I have to cover. So I covered those things with respect to previous year question papers, and I covered way and I practiced them. I was able to get good marks. And last I got 85. This year I got, I believe, 95. So fine marks in CSAT, and previous year question papers helped me.
Okay. So I think one thing जो आपने repeat किया, like setting the boundaries, and I think it is very important कि जो भी आप पढ़ रहे हो, whatever you are reading, we need to set the boundaries for the same, right? So if we see today, there is lot of information overload, right? There is lot of information, be it YouTube, social media, or market notes in the market and everything. So in this all this, how did you manage to cut down on unnecessary things? कि आपका ताकि time waste ना हो unnecessary चीजों पे.
Sir, I was a person who used to go for number of pages. Okay, and I was not a person who used to sit for hours. I used to say that bhai, your productivity is what matters more. So I measured my productivity by the number of pages I did, and I always focused that number of pages must be lesser. I found those books. If the like say it is Spectrum, right, sir? In Spectrum, you have that small book. It's like you can cover those pages. Like 100 pages can be done in a day if you sit solely for GS, right, sir? So that was that book. And again, I go by the pages. Normally, my average is 80 pages a day, 10 pages an hour. So I always use this strategy. And to cut short my resources, I used to see which book is providing lesser number of pages. Ancient medieval, I followed Tamil Nadu board ki purani book rather than following NCRTs, because 250 pages, that small booklet, it was covering the entire ancient medieval, say some portion of culture even, right, sir? So it really helped me. And even while making my strategy that how to cover my syllabus, I used to count the number of pages. I'll be doing these many number of pages this day. So by this, the book will be covered. So pages mattered, sir. So that helped me decide my sources as well. Environment, I struggled a lot. I moved from Shankar IAS to PMF IAS to Vaishali Anand ma'am's book recently on environment. It wasn't that it was decided that I'll be covering environment from here. It was that it was very difficult to revise from the book of Shankar IAS again and again because it's little boring and too much flooded with the knowledge. And again, if I look at notes of PMFIS, they were too uh, like not that comprehensive. So both didn't satisfy me. Then I moved to another book, McGraw-Hill's, this Vaishali Anand Man. That was interesting book from the point of view of revising it again and again. So it was always that it is not that you have to decide your sources very like smartly, keeping in mind कि उसको आप revise कर सको. You need to identify yourself firstly that what kind of person you are, whether you will be able to revise from that very book or not. So that also helped me that it's not that I was sticking to one thing in your environment because I was not satisfied. So I had to change at that point of time. Otherwise, sticking to your sources is very important. I don't want to say that keep on changing the sources. It's only with respect to environment that I changed. Otherwise, I was sticking to my sources as basic books, Lakshmi Kant, Spectrum, Nitin Singhania. So such books, Environment Key, I read Sanjeev Verma. So such books I was like doing.
Certainly. Now, I think one more aspect in preparation is mock test, and specifically for prelims, right? So it is very indispensable. So, like, how many number of mock tests did you attempt, and like, how did make utilization of those mock tests to help you?
So mock test played a great role. Firstly, I started my mocks in 2019, last of 2019. And the number of mocks I gave in the first attempt was approximately 25. And in the second attempt, I gave approximately 30 plus mock tests. And what I want to say is that during my mocks, I got to know that what is the way of attempting the answer that I'll be using. Mostly aspirants who are engineers, right, who are from engineering background, they follow this technique of iteration 1, 2, 3. Sir, I was not that person. I am very slow reader. I read just 10 pages in 1 hour. So keeping that in mind, I was I stick to ये solve करना है and इसमें time बीत जाएगा, right? So I didn't do by iterations. I was like, I found that what is apt number of my answers, which are giving me good number of marks, right? Rights and wrongs, wo probability wala scene. For me, attempting 90 or 85 was working, right, sir? So during my first attempt, I was able to just complete the paper by 78 or 76, 77 questions. And I went with the head that I have to cover 85 plus. I wasn't able to do that because in my preparation, I changed the strategy that iteration से करने लगा कि पहले easy कर दूं. I wasn't able to complete the entire set of iterations. So in my second attempt, I was very sure that for every 10 questions, I have to do 9 or 8 questions. So हर 10 questions से मैं वो करके निकलना जो मर्जी हो जाए, चाहे logical reasoning से करना पड़े, by any which technology or say whatever it is.
I think this is something a different strategy, but something I think aspirants जो भी अभी mock test दे रहे हैं, they should try it. That for every 10 questions, set a target that you might be doing this number of questions, right?
Yes, sir. But it
doesn't work for you. Then you could try this thing.
Yes, sir. But it didn't work. I want to say one thing that in this attempt, that is 2021 wala attempt, first 10 questions, 3 were from sports. Fourth question was from the polity part, which I didn't want to take a risk because I am having law background and I don't want it to be wrong at polity side. Okay, so I had to leave that for the end thing. And 3 those questions I was not knowing sports wale. So 6 questions I was able to do. Then I said, "Okay, ये तो strategy it is gone." Then I was like, no, these are just 10 questions. Now what I need to do is I need to find that set of 10 questions. Just I have to cover all 10 questions. So I had it in my head कि 8 से 9 तो करने लेकिन 3 ऐसे सेट भी होने चाहिए जो 10 में से 10 करने हैं for covering those 3 question वाला thing.
I think if we talk about prelims, like from your first attempt and second attempt, like what factors or what one or two things you feel that which had helped you clear it or clicked, right?
Sir, this is very important thing that I want to address. That in my first questions, I just read basic books. I just covered test series. Like it was just that I was doing basic things. Then my second attempt, I took few steps extra, which I really want to tell. I did map work. I did it state wise, that which river, which state bird, which state animal. Then I did this was done with by me and one of my friends. So we did one state on one day. She did another state on the same day, and then we exchanged that thing. And this was really helpful. Then, with respect to history, I learned from Shreyans Kumar's strategy. He was topper in 2017 or 6 or 18 or 19. And yeah, he was having this history on maps. So I also did map work for history. I also made a list of governor generals. I also that what they did, who was contemporary. Then, with respect to environment, I was writing critically endangered animals, birds, and other IUCN status and animals and birds. So, small and other steps that I was taking, and I believe this is very important. And even for the world, I was doing mapping and all, and because this will give you confidence. Number two, I don't want to say that question wahan se aayenge. I just want to say that you will be doing that extra effort, and something will be there in your head that मैंने कुछ किया है, and that will be like helping you solve the answers either through the options or through the or otherwise. Right? That thing helped me here.
I think rightly said that you need to take a little bit of extra effort. Like apart from covering basics, आपको थोड़ा mapping, right? History में maybe you could make chronologies and all, right? So these are the things that you need to do. And again, UPSC का exam इस हिसाब से designed होता है कि one or other thing might click in some statement or some there where you could eliminate, right? So this is how the things work. Now, see, you mentioned about your friend. So एक चीज होती है peer group, right? So in preparation, there are some people, some toppers say they prefer to isolate. Some say they want to go with a peer group. But again, there is also pros and cons. So what is your view about peer group? And was there a peer group in your preparation which helped you?
Sir, I want to emphasize on one thing, that one must understand himself or herself, that what kind of person you are. If you have the knack of it, then you are on a right track. So I was a person who was also cutting off from the society, but at the same time, I was in touch with those friends who were on the same path or who have achieved something, or like in judiciary, one of my friend was DJS, right? So I took help from him with respect to checking my law optional answers. And one of my friends, she was also preparing for UPSC, so we were having the same track. So we talked with respect to, okay, we shared our material on say extra efforts. Okay, ये जो state critically endangered animals, that thing, map work. So at some, I don't want to say that this was a peer study group. This wasn't a peer group. It was more of a divide, that is like dividing the work amongst your friends. So that was it. And I took help from one of my, from my best friend, that he helped me with respect to checking my law optional papers and telling me that you have to write brownie points in your answers everywhere, so that will be given marks. So that is nice. So help from your friends is not bad, but you should be, again, you should know what kind of person you are. If you want to study in isolation, well, that people are getting the fruits of studying in isolation. If you want to be study with your friends, then you can study with your friends. It's like knowing yourself.
So I think rightly said, even in UPSC, there is no one best way, right? So the best thing depends on yourself, right? So if you are able to study in isolation, right, and if you are able to get, score good in mock test, and if your preparation is going good, then there is no need. But if you think you can get a peer group who could support you and help each other out, right? Like said, checking each other's copies and maybe cross evaluation. So this is something useful. So I think, Jaspinder, now let's come on the next stage, that is the main stage. And there, one important thing is answer writing, right? So, Jaspinder, can you tell me, how did you build your answer writing skill? What did you do, like daily answer writing, on how many questions you did on a daily basis?
Sir, in December 2019, I started writing answers. I was writing answers on some portal and uploading them. So that was not carried on for so long. It was just for 2 3 weeks, and then I stopped doing that. Then after my first prelims, I did sectional answer test series. Again, I was just writing content without keeping a track of time. What I did was I wrote answers in not in 3 hours, in 4 hours, 4.5 hours. So this was not helping me that way. Okay, I was in the atmosphere of examination, but it was helping in me in writing content and getting marks for the content. So I got to know that which content is being rewarded in my answers. So that is with respect to my first prelims. And after my second prelims, it was that I made short notes that I revised with my test series. Then I was making short notes from my own notes. I didn't study any book because it's hard to study book again before your mains. So I didn't do it from books. I did from my notes. Then I made short notes. Then I revised those short notes. Then gave the test. Now I was not giving sectional tests. I was giving full length tests after my second prelims. So I was then the copies came. I got very less marks. Then I was like, okay, what I need to do more? I talked to the mentors again. Here comes the importance of mentors, sir. And then I was guided how I need to build the structure of my answers. Then I worked on structure. Then I got to know that if you are empathetic in your society and polity answers, you're rewarded there. So if you're talking about weaker sections in your answer, you're rewarded for that. So you need to identify that where you're getting marks and where you're losing marks. So that is very important.
So definitely, and I think test series is very useful in this, right? So it helps you get to know what things are working and what things are not working, right? So I think in general, if I ask you, Jaspinder, like for mains, like what did you think that worked for your mains? Like maybe 2 or 3 things, you feel that, okay, this was what I have done. Because of this, I was able to, score good.
So short notes and multiple revision from short notes is the first thing that worked for me. Secondly, when it comes to speed, neither of my mock tests I completed on time. I completed them in 3 hours, 20 minutes, 3 hours, 30 minutes. Then for last 10 days, before that I read Anudeep sir's book on how to write mains, answers and how to write essay. So I timed myself that I solved previous year questions of mains by timing it. I got to know of the strategy 80, 80, 90. That is, first hour you have to cover 80 marks, second hour 80 marks, third hour 90 marks. So now I was not able to complete my 8 mocks on time. So I devoted 10 days before my actual mains on speed, sir. So I was writing 1 hour. For 1 hour, I was covering 80 marks. I was writing for 1.5 hours. I was covering 120 or say 130 marks per paper. So that is how I worked on things piece by piece. Like pehle content ka sort kar liya, then I worked on time. So I want to tell this thing that I didn't do answer writing daily. Had I done answer writing daily, तो मुझे वो last के 10 days कुछ speed पे ज़्यादा काम नहीं करना पड़ता. So people can work on answer writing daily by timing themselves. But I had to work separately for time, just 10 days before the exam, sir. And it was very much burdensome for mind at that point of time that मेरे paper पूरे नहीं हो रहे. I was like literally shattered कि यार कोई paper time पे पूरा नहीं हुआ.
So I think this is something every aspirant can relate to, right? क्योंकि किसी की भी journey what I would say is smooth नहीं होती. There are some challenges here and there, but what is important is to manage that pressure and stress, right? So lastly, Jaspinder, like there are a lot of aspirants who would be watching you. So उनके लिए आपका क्या message रहेगा, right? If there is some message that you want to give to them to inspire them or maybe to help them in their journey.
So I want to talk about 3 things. That first, this is not just your hard work that is you're going to do. It is very important that you need to take care of your mind. You need to win over your mind. You need for the revisions, because you can do 2 revisions easily, but for 3rd revision you have to kill your mind and start, right, sir? So very important. Man jeete jag jeet, Guru Nanak Dev Ji said. So if you win over your mind, you can win over the world. So win over your mind first. There are distractions, but keep your mind at peace. Keep meditating. Do the things that you want to do that makes you happy. Things that make you happy. That is very important. Secondly, sir, physical workout is very important. Your health must be given importance, due importance. Give 1 hour to yourself, uh, to your body. Give 1 hour to your mind. So that is very important. By mind, I mean some people feel relaxed talking to their parents. Talk to your parents for 1 hour, 30 minutes daily. Talk or do workout, physical workout. That is very important. Thirdly, sir, what I learned from the entire journey, or from 26 years that I have lived. So that is Jinni Godi Unni Doti. That is the work you do, you will always be paid for that. The hard work is always paid. So you'll get the fruits of whatever you have done in the one or the other way. So keep on working hard. Have your mind under your control. That is, again, I want to repeat. So that is it.
So thank you, Jaspinder. Thank you very much. And I think I really believe that these things that you told would be really helpful to all the aspirants who would be watching this. Right, they would also get to know how to deal with situations and how to prepare. Right. So again, thank you, Jaspinder, for taking out your time. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay.